by at the 2009 Bears training camp at the campus of Olivet Nazarene. Talking a little bit of defense here with Alex Brown. Second night of practice for you personally. What was it like in the offseason? Get yourself mentally and physically prepared for where we are tonight.
Well, I've been doing it for a little bit now, and it's pretty much the same for me. Just make sure I come in shape. Make sure I take a little time off just before we have to come here, just to kind of get away from it, and I take about 2 weeks where I make sure I get away, like out of Chicago, and try to get away from football, period. And then I come back because for the next 6-7 months it's going to be all football. So, and that, usually I do that every year, and I'm pretty much ready to go.
That's why they call you a pro. Of course, the defense this year in particular, let's try to remain positive. Let's forget about the injury to Peanut Tillman because, of course, that's going to work itself out. But what is it that you like being an integral part of this defensive squad as you come into this 2009-2010 campaign? What is it that you like about this defense and the players that you have in place that are going to be playing around you?
No, I think the players are pretty much the same. We get Tommy Harris back. We get some young guys that can actually play a little bit, get them in here and try to get them working in the rotation. And then I think it's the attitude, though. That's the thing. That's the biggest thing. The attitude that I believe it came from Coach Marinelli and Coach Hoke and Coach Smith. Just everything just kind of changed. Like the whole attitude of the defense is completely different, I think, than last year.
Well, do you think that maybe plays in part to what the offseason brought and how hard it was with the bitter taste in your mouth from last year, that maybe not only do the players want to change, but also that coaching staff wants to see things change as well?
Well, we wanted to change after the 07 season, but it just didn't happen in 08. But when you put in the work and you work your butt off, you work so hard that when a tough time comes, it's hard to give up. And that's mental toughness, and that's what I don't believe we had last year. I'm speaking particularly I don't think we had as a defense, but some people might have other opinions, but that's my opinion. When you're up with 6 seconds to go in a game and you lose it, they got one play to go. It was the Atlanta game. We lost the Atlanta game. We lost Carolina game. We were up 14 points with 5 minutes to go against Tampa Bay. It's just those little things that I think mental toughness plays a big part in that.
Well, that was yesterday. This is today, and of course, we're working for tomorrow. I know you've got to be excited about the upcoming season. We're awful proud of you. I know the fans in Bloomington Normal love you. We know these Bear fans love you. Thank you, Alex Brown. Go have a great season.
No problem. We'll do.
All right, Alex Brown, the Chicago Bears defense for the training camp here at Bradley Bourbonnais Sports Report, Bloomington Normal. Back now in the media ranks, and of course doing the post-game, pre-game, post-game. I have a feeling you're still going to do that this year.
Yeah, I'm fired up to do it. ComcastSports.net, and I've done it the past couple years, and obviously there's a lot of buzz, a lot of excitement. So much like the fans, I'm excited about this upcoming season.
Before we talk about the Bears, what's it like for you personally to step out on the practice field during training camp and kind of watch the fans, watch the players, and relive what you had to go through back in the day?
Well, it's hard. I miss it. I love football. I just physically couldn't do it anymore. But, if they were to sign me to a contract today, you betcha I'd start rolling it out a little bit. But, that's what's great about covering the Bears. It keeps my head in the game. I get my little football fix, and I just love the game of football. I enjoy covering it, love talking about it. So, a small party, it misses it that you're not putting on the pads and coming out here.
Well, I do want you to know that they've got a first stringer that might give you a run for your money. So, and that brings up a great point. Of course, the Bears doing a fantastic job going and getting Cutler in the offseason. Boy, that was huge. It got the fans a buzz. It got the organization a buzz. What about for people like you that know the Bears organization? What does that mean for them?
Well, I think it signifies, it definitely sends a signal that, hey, we want to win. They definitely traded. They made a bold move, and you give credit to Jerry Angelo that, hey, this is a position that's been a problem here for the Bears for a long time. And I'll be the first to say, yeah, we may have gotten our first quarterback since Sid Luckman. But, he's a total package. He can be a difference maker. I think the offense will be much more accountable. Keep the defense back or off on the sideline to get some rest. And I think he's going to be a very explosive player and very key to their success.
Well, I think before they even got Cutler, they made some moves on the offensive line. As a former quarterback, you had to love those. More just from the knowledge and the veteran standpoint of a Pace coming here now. Of course, he's got a lot of years of experience, but Jim, you know as well as everybody else, he brings a lot of knowledge of the game to the Bears organization.
I think so. Well, they got bigger, and that's what they had to do within this division. You got to remember, even on the inside, picking up Frank Amayael from Carolina, he's a lot bigger. You think of Minnesota Vikings, got the bigger defensive tackles. So I think across the board, the development of a young, healthy Chris Williams at the right tackle spot. So I think overall they upgraded, and don't forget about the swing tackle, Kevin Schaefer. I think an excellent job by Jerry Angelo again here this offseason.
Well, I know you're an offensive guy, but defensively I have to ask you the addition of Rod Marinelli to the defense. What does that do to this Chicago Bears defense?
He's the guy's X's and O's. He teaches those guys techniques, and a lot of people think, hey, as a head coach, he was 0-16 up there in Detroit. I was with Rod down in Tampa when I got released by the Bears. He's an outstanding defensive line coach. So I just think in terms of techniques, in terms of getting keys for an offense, let's say if an offense comes out in a personnel grouping and an offensive set, he's giving those guys a checklist. So instead of reacting, they're now being aggressive and attacking the offense, and I think Rod is a huge addition and another great offseason acquisition.
Well, while we've got a chance to pick your brain, we've covered offense, covered defense, talk a little bit about special teams. Very integral part of the football game, of course, the punting and the kicking game, but Bears very solid in special teams.
Pat Manley, a teammate of mine, solid as they get as a long snapper. We know about Brad Maynard and obviously Robbie Gould. Obviously, there's rule changes. The kickoffs, they can't have the wedge anymore, the four-man wedge, so that may play a little factor in how Dave Toub, elects to do some of the return game. But I think the Bears have been leaders, the last 4 years in special teams in the NFL, and I expect that to continue.
Well, as we get ready to wrap this one up, what does it excite you, Jim Miller, about following the Bears this season?
Well, I think there's a lot of storylines. Like you said, Jay Cutler. Everybody thinks, hey, where are the receivers? Jay Cutler is going to make these receivers. Don't worry about the big receiver. Greg Olsen is the Bears' Brandon Marshall. That's what you can expect from Greg Olsen. So I think an exciting style of football on both sides of the ball. I think the offense is now accountable, and the defense now won't be left out there to sit to dry.
Well, and you bring up a great point with Greg Olsen. You have people that know football that say, Cutler's the type of quarterback that can make an Olsen an all-pro tight end.
I agree. I think he's going to elevate the play of all these players, whether it's a young Earl Bennett. Devin Hester, I think, is going to make more strides this year at the wide receiver position. And people forget about Des Clark. Des Clark is Mr. Consistency. He's 45 catches every year. That's all you can ask for. And maybe that'll lighten the load a little bit on Matt Forte. Other guys will emerge with the arm of Jay Cutler. I really believe that.
Well, I'll tell you what, after the Bear game back home in Bloomington Normal, everyone always goes to Channel 56, Comcast Sportsnet. You will see this guy post-game, and he'll tell you the way it is. Jim Miller, cannot thank you enough. Let's get excited about this 09 campaign.
I'm fired up. The fans should be excited. It's going to be a good year.
Former quarterback Jim Miller, the Chicago Bears here at the training camp of Olivet Nazarene University.